Okay, number 24 is another one we have to use system of equations. I'm just going to go ahead and read this for us first, and then we'll set up the equations so you can follow along in the sample. Movie theater tickets sells adult tickets and children's tickets. 10 adult tickets and 8 children's tickets cost $237. Well, 4 adults and 6 children's equals $127. What's the cost of each ticket? You must use system of equations to set up and solve. Okay, so let's go ahead and set it up. Since it tells us we have to use system of equations, let's do that. We're going to let X represent the cost of adult tickets and Y represents the cost of children's tickets. Now, I have 10 adult tickets, so I have 10X, 10 adults, and 8 children's tickets. So 10 adults and 8 children's. That's going to cost $237. Next I have 4 adults and 6 children's is $127. Now let's talk about how we set this up, how we know it's going to be set up this way. If you're buying 10 tickets and they cost a certain amount, you would just multiply those together to get the total cost. So 10 times however many the adult tickets cost, plus 8 times whatever the children's tickets cost. I'm going to add it all together. My total cost is $237. Same thing where the bottom one works. I have 4 of the adults and 6 children's, that equals $127. Alright, so once I get done with that, what I need to do now is solve this. Now I can either solve this by substitution or elimination. Again, substitution is good to do when you have a single variable, but in this case I've got numbers in front. So if I try and solve for X or Y, I'm probably going to end up with a fraction. So to avoid fractions, I'm going to do this one by elimination. You can eliminate either the X's or the Y's. I'll choose to eliminate the X's in this case, but just know you could do either one. Now, if you're going to eliminate the X's, you look at the numbers in front of the X's and you want to look at what's the smallest number that both 10 and 4 will divide into evenly. Now, you don't just you can multiply them together and get 40, but that's not always going to be the smallest number. To find that, what I do is I'll start with 10. I know that 4 doesn't divide into 10. And then I'm going to double it, and I'll get 20. I find that 4 divides into 20, and 10 will divide into 20 as well. So 20 actually is the smallest, the least possible number that both of these will divide into evenly. So I want to make one of these positive 20 and one of them negative 20. I'm going to choose to make the top one negative. So if I want to make that negative 20, I'll have to multiply by negative 2. The bottom one I'm going to multiply by 5 and I'll get positive 20 down there. Now remember, when you're multiplying this, you got to remember to multiply all the way across each of these. Don't forget to multiply the one after the equal sign. So let's go ahead and do that all the way through. I get negative 20x minus 16y. We have 237 times negative 2 and you'll get negative 474. Next, we'll multiply 5 all the way through there, so we'll get 20x plus 30y, and that's going to equal 5 times 127 is 635. Okay, so now that I have that complete, I'm ready now to add the equations together. I have positive 30 and I'm adding it to negative 16, so I'm subtracting those. I'll get a 14y on that side. Now if I combine this together, 635 minus 474, what I end up with is 161 right here. I'm going to subtract, or divide both sides by 14. Opposite operation of multiplication is division. And when I do all that, I get 11.5. So this, I said that the Y represents the number of children's tickets. So that means that's how much a children's ticket costs, is $11.50. Now, I'm not done yet. I got to find the price of the adult tickets. To find that, I'm going to go into either one of these two equations. I can go use the top one or the bottom one, doesn't matter. And I'll put the Y into there and solve. Let's just go ahead and use the bottom equation. Again, it doesn't really matter which one you use, but I'm going to start with the bottom one. I'm going to put 11.5 in for Y, so I have 4x plus 6 times 11.5, and that's going to equal 127. Let's go ahead and multiply this out. I'm going to get, when I multiply that out, I'll get 69 right here. That equals 127. Now I'm going to subtract 69 from both sides. And what I end up with is 58 right here. And then I can divide both sides by 4. And by dividing both sides by 4, I get $14.50. So now this right here, this is going to be the price of the children's ticket, and this would be the price of the adult ticket, which makes sense that the adult should be a higher price than the children's, so this would be your answer.